So season 5 of Orange is the New Black. As I mentioned when I did Wentworth, this is the Mirror, the American Mirror copy, which is dramatically different, although virtually identical. Yes, there is a certain factor of criminal that is going to be identical regardless of what jail or prison you're at or what country you're in. The people are essentially the same. I found this when I was very young, that no matter who you talk to from anywhere in the world, they basically say exactly the same thing, and there are only X number of personalities, and there's a certain, yes, there's a division within prison just like there is in high school or at work. The people are essentially identical. Criminal isn't any different than your coworker or the kid in the seat in the next aisle in junior high, because, well, first of all, the kid in the seat, probably not junior high, because they made it that far, they almost survived. But, kidding, lots of criminals graduated from high school. Some even went to college. There are doctors and plumbers and lawyers in jail. There are electricians and carpenters and anything you can imagine. They're in jail. It's not like it's just the whole day is spent doing crime. Especially murderers, because, unless they're hitmen, murder isn't a job for the most part. But anyways, there are things that are always confusing about this. First of all, it's a federal paid prison, which is a real thing in America. And yes, the corporation, anything with a government contract has no purpose in existing. As far as I'm concerned, it's either government work or private work. There shouldn't be a crossover, because what the Democrats didn't tell you is that's socialism. But that's another story. As far as the conditions in the prison, yeah, it can be pretty accurate. Now, it's portrayed almost as, well, there are generally what they call levels, minimum to maximum security. How many levels, it depends on the system. California, for example, has 4, but they also have this phantom 5th, which is what they call death row, and then there's this sub 1, which is gate passes. Well, actually, level 1s have a gate pass, which is when you work in the community, you do community service and stuff like that, or even just on the property of the prison, you can go outside your little fence, and generally it's a small yard. A lot of them have basically nothing more than a 4-foot chain link fence around the perimeter of the yard, which is what they call it, where the dorms and the visiting center and the kitchen and all these things are all in one area. It's called a yard. Now, the prison that they're showing you looks to be more like a level 3, especially since they have murderers mixed in. And I'm still unsure of how, in many of these cases, murder is a federal offense. It seems like it's normal county jail stuff most of these people are in there for. I don't really understand the level of, federal is interstate, Washington, D.C., and anti-government or something. I don't even know. I've had a few friends who've gone, bank robbery. That's a federal offense. Doesn't matter if it's a 1 bank or 7 banks across 3 states. It's still a federal offense. But the funny thing is, drug dealing can be either a federal offense or a local offense, and generally the same drug dealer, it just depends on who arrests them. which doesn't make sense. Once again, there should be, I mean, the federal government shouldn't just deal with any petty little misdemeanors. That's just ridiculous. So anyways, there's that question in there, because once again, it's modeled after, ripped off from Australia's, and before Wentworth. Wentworth is the latest in a series of revisions of this story going back decades. Anyways, so we have that question of reality there. You have relatively short-term and lifers in the same place. Seem to be a lot of dormitories, not cells, which indicates a level 1 or 2. I mean, yes, in certain places they do put 3s in a dormitory setting, but generally only because of overcrowding. Let's get to the acting, because if we go into the reality of this, I'll be here for another 6 or 7 minutes. I did like the acting, and there's a level. It was probably made for the women's prison instead of a men's prison, simply so they could have naked women on it. And I mean, yes, there is a lot of passive nudity. There is the actresses, I'll do it once, but I'll never do it again. I'll do a nude scene, but you can't show me kind of stuff. You can't show me naked, because you already showed me naked once. And now it's the same scene where I'm naked, but you can't see it, because that's degrading to women. Well, if it was degrading to women, you should have never done it, and you shouldn't be in a show that has it. That's basically, you can't have it both ways. That's just a childish, ignorant contradiction. You're either naked or you're not. You either believe in it or you don't. And yes, in jail, there's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of strip searches. There's a lot of cavity searches aren't as popular as they're made out to be. At least I've never had one. But anyways, it is a good cast, but like I said, the characters are virtually identical to what you're going to see on Wentworth. A lot of the situations are similar. I'm not going to tell you what happens in season 5 or how it ends. I don't do spoilers. But it's women in prison and things that happen in prison. But yes, they do portray them as, well, probably the most stereotypical, racially, sexually, and any other way. Everything is basically just totally politically incorrect, and generally insulting. So, but it is entertaining. I mean, I do say that Kenshi is entertaining, if nothing else.